Shalom and welcome back to Israel with Aline, and welcome back to my home here in Jerusalem. In the last 10 days, Hamas and Islamic Jihad, which are terrorist groups from Gaza, have launched more than 3,500 rockets against the civilian population of Israel. But few missiles actually landed on Israeli soil, and that's thanks to a system called the Iron Dome. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, if you're ready, let's get started. The Iron Dome is called Iron Dome in English and Kippat Barzel in Hebrew. It is the most advanced anti-missile system in the world. When a rocket is launched against Israel, this system calculates within seconds where it will land. And if it is heading toward a populated area, the system automatically sends an anti-missile and destroys the rocket while it's still in the air. But why does Israel create this system? In the 1990s, Hezbollah, a terrorist group from Lebanon, started launching rockets against Israel. And also in the year 2000, the terrorist group Hamas started launching them from Gaza as well. Only from the Gaza Strip, between the years 2000 and 2008, 8,000 projectiles were launched. Of those, 4,000 were mortars and 4,000 were rockets. And in 2006, during the Second Lebanon War, Hezbollah launched 4,000 rockets, causing 44 deaths. 250,000 people had to be evacuated from their homes, and more than 1 million had to take refuge in shelters. The shelters we saw here on the channel in the previous video. And then General Daniel Gold, literally seeing this rain of rockets over Israel, realized that we needed a solution. And the solution he proposes is an anti-missile system that will intercept the missiles while they're still in the air. An idea that was revolutionary at the time. And the Israeli generals, as well as American generals, hear this idea and say, this is impossible. This isn't something that can be done in practice, and we're not going to invest money in this project. Why? Because it's a waste of time and money to invest in a project that's doomed to fail. But Daniel does manage to get supporters for his project, including the Israeli Minister of Defense, Amir Peretz. So they do start the project in partnership with a company called Rafael and also the Israel Aerospace Industries. They start the project, and in 2008 they begin the tests. And finally, in 2011, the system is put into use and it revolutionizes the defense system of the State of Israel. But how does this system work in practice? When a rocket is launched against Israel, this system, the Iron Dome, calculates in a matter of seconds where it will land. And then it is determined what will be done. There are two options. If the missile is heading towards an open area, an empty field, or the sea, it is allowed to fall in that open area. And we'll talk in a little bit about why. And if the missile is heading towards a populated area, for example, a city, Israel will launch an anti-missile called Tamir, and it will intercept that missile in the air and explode it before it reaches the populated area, thus preventing a missile from hitting the civilian population. And in 2011, when this system was inaugurated, the people who were called to use it for the first time were young soldiers from the city of Sderot. The city of Sderot is one of the cities closest to Gaza and one of the cities that has suffered the most from this rain of rockets for years and years. These are young people who had much of their childhood shaped by a rain of rockets. And that's why it was so special to invite these same young people now to inaugurate this system. And now let's talk about the good things and also the bad things about the Iron Dome system, the Iron Dome. The best thing of all, guys, is its efficiency. It's estimated to have an efficiency of 90%. What does that mean? 90% of the missiles that are supposed to fall in populated areas are intercepted. And when we talk about such impressive numbers as 3,500 rockets in just 10 days, it means that hundreds, if not thousands, of lives are being saved. Because of this Iron Dome system, other advantages of this system are that it's a mobile system. So, for example, right now, Israel is mainly being attacked from Gaza. So you can move most of the batteries to the area near Gaza. But if, for example, in the future, there is a conflict coming from Hezbollah, coming from the north of Israel, they can take these same batteries and move them in that direction. Also, since the system works with radars, it works in any weather. Rain or shine, the Iron Dome has an efficiency of 90%. And it was created to intercept short-range missiles. We're talking about between 4 and 70 kilometers. But in future improvement projects for this system, the goal is for it to reach up to 250 kilometers of rocket range. But then, what are the problems with the Iron Dome? The first and main one actually is the cost. Each battery to be built, each battery is what we're seeing now on the screen, costs $50 million to produce. $50 million per battery, and besides that, each of the Tamir rockets inside this battery, each one of them costs $40,000. At the moment, Israel has 10 batteries in operation, and Israel wants to build 5 more batteries. And the issue of cost is a very serious problem. We saw the cost of creating the batteries and also of the Tamir missiles themselves that are used. We estimate that nowadays in Lebanon, Hezbollah has around 100,000 missiles dedicated to the fight against Israel, and in the Gaza Strip, until the beginning of this latest round of conflict, they had around 14,000 missiles, of which more than 3,500 were launched against Israel, and a little over 1,000 were destroyed by Israel while still on the ground in Gaza. But we're talking about a few thousand missiles that Gaza still has, and each missile launch costs $40,000 to intercept. That's why the decision is made to let missiles fall in open areas, as we mentioned before, because now if a missile is heading toward the Mediterranean Sea or an agricultural zone, it's better to let that missile fall than to intercept it in the air. And the last problem we're experiencing here in Israel now in this latest round of missiles coming from Gaza is that the system has a limit. Since we only have 10 batteries, there's a limit to how many missiles can be intercepted at the same time. And Hamas and Islamic Jihad are sometimes launching 300 missiles in just 10 minutes to overwhelm the system. So yes, we have seen in the last few days some rockets falling in Israeli residential areas. And unfortunately, we also had 12 deaths because of these rockets. And what is the future of Israel's defense system? It's called Iron Beam, the Iron Beam. Why? We've seen that the Iron Dome is a fantastic system, but it also has some problems. The first one is the cost, and the second is that it has a range starting from 7 kilometers. And we see that there are populations living less than 7 kilometers from Gaza, and they are not protected in the same way by the Iron Dome. And that's why Israel created, you could say, the younger brother of the Iron Dome, which is the Iron Beam, which is a solid-state laser. What does that mean? If these super short-range missiles are launched against Israel, Israel will fire back with a beam, literally a laser, and this laser will cut through the outer part of the rocket, so it will explode in the air and not fall on those communities. So we see that Israel's defense has to constantly improve and evolve. This new system will not replace the Iron Dome, but rather join it. And it's an even faster system. Between the moment the rocket is launched and the laser destroys it, only 4 to 5 seconds pass and its cost will be $1 per laser fired. Obviously, there are all the production and development costs, but it will also be a more affordable way to destroy some of the missiles launched against Israel. I want to end today's video with a request for prayer for peace between Israelis and Palestinians. But while that doesn't happen, it's really good to see the investment that Israel is making and the effort that Israel makes to protect its population, whether they are Jewish, Christian, Muslim. All groups are protected. The Iron Dome works to protect Arab cities in Israel as well as Jewish cities and Christian sites. So let's hope for a day when this is no longer necessary, but as long as we see that it is extremely necessary, we are grateful for all the protection we can have here. A big hug, and if you want more videos directly from Israel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. A kiss and see you next time.